Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing of Mythwind by Open Owl Studios. This game is by Brendan McCaskill and Nathan Leach. I hope I pronounced those right. I did get to meet Brendan at the Gen Con last year. It was super cool to meet him. We actually played a little bit of Nemesis together. He joined us for a game of that. It was super fun to meet him. He's a great guy and we're going to be unboxing Mythwind. We've got it all in pledge. This is our Kickstarter copy that we backed, and we are going to go through all of this here. I've got a whole bunch of stuff. Not only do we have the core game, we've got some magical miniatures. We have an art book that we're going to be going through. We also have a journal that is part of this Kickstarter. We have some Winds of Magic cards, an entire opening of some event cards. We've got coins galore. It's not over yet. Look at all this stuff. We've got the expanded horizons, and if that wasn't enough, this game comes with a huge giant playmat, so we're going to unbox all of this right now on this channel. And if you're excited to see all this super fun stuff from Mythwind, then I need you to meet me at the table. The first thing I want to show off is this amazing playmat. One side of it is, I believe it's the world that Mythwind is set in, and on the other side, it has just a relaxing looking field with a great little waterfall, and it's just gonna be a great place to be able to put all the components as you're playing through the game. Next, I'd like to take a look at the actual core box of this game. For those of you that don't know what Mythwind is, it is an asymmetrical and cooperative board game where you get to live the life of an adventurer and pioneer in a whimsical fantasy setting. And on the back, it even gives a little bit more of a description. It says here that it's an open-ended cooperative game for 1 to 4 players in which each player controls a distinct character. And from what I understand, they are very distinct in this game. As you can see here, these are the player boards. We're going to look at these as we go through the unboxing, but each character plays completely different, even as you can see by these player boards. It's a cooperative experience, and you're going to be able to achieve goals by constructing buildings and adventuring throughout the region. It takes about 30 minutes, but it has kind of an unlimited amount of time that you can play. And so we're going to dig into it, see what we have in store for us inside Mythwind. There is a lot inside this box. The first thing we see are the journals. These are going to be for these specific characters. I believe each one of these is a rule book for how the character works and performs in the world of Mythwind. So there are 4 separate instruction booklets for the characters to interact. So they have their own way of working inside this world. Then I believe there's a town charter here, which is going to go through exactly how the core game of this plays. And then after you read through the core game, you're going to be able to decide which one of the characters you want to learn to play as. We have a crafter, a ranger, a farmer, and a merchant. And I believe each of them are probably going to have their own goals and things they're trying to achieve inside of this world. Here we have a map of the area here. Now this is the same map that's on the back side of the playmat, so I'm not going to unfold it. It's the exact same map that we've seen before. And here is a great art print that you could hang on the wall if you want. You could frame it, you can do whatever you want with this thing. This thing is really cool. It looks very awesome. Now, of course, we do have our punch boards, and these are going to be for each of the different classes that you can play, or the characters in the game. We have the merchant, the ranger, the farmer, and the crafter here. We'll go through each one of these punch boards individually, or hopefully I can kind of explain a little bit about each one of these as we go through it. But each person, like I said, is going to play completely different. From what I understand, this is going to be the farmer's thing. The farmer's going to try to, from how I understand it, kind of plant crops, and that's how that person's board is going to react. Let's actually pull all of these punch boards out and go through them all individually. It's kind of going to work great because we have the farmer's board kind of right here, so I can show you a little bit of how this works. So you have the farmer board here. It's just going to cover up what's in here, which is going to be some of the pieces that the farmer uses. These are the skills that this farmer could potentially get. In order to get the skills, you have to abide by what you see here. So in order to get, for example, good planter, I would have to get 2 of these, I think they're were the potatoes? Yeah, these are potatoes, and one of these fruits or strawberries or something. So what you're going to do is you're going to try to plant those so you can gain this skill. Now, the way you're going to plant crops is during the game turn, you're going to follow some of these steps here. You can plant crops, you can tend crops, you can harvest them, you can do stuff with livestock, you can put down some equipment things, and each of these are done by either sprites or by the villagers, and of course, you decide which part of the actions you're going to use. When you plant crops, you're going to take these particular crops, which are dual-sided. Some of these are untended, which is this side, and some of these are tended, which means that you're going to get the untended ones, place them out into your farm, which is over here. And you can see each of these have a dollar sign attached to them. That's going to be part of the harvest phase from how I understand it. Now, of course, I could be wrong about these. I have not played the game yet. I'm just going by what I believe how this works from quickly glancing at what I saw the rules here. This up here is the different phases of the game or different seasons of the game, and you're going to tend your crops and place them in here, have them then if they are tended or untended, you're going to get certain dollar signs for them when you decide to harvest them. Or of course, you could spend them to gain some of your skills, which on the backside show you what they're going to be able to do. And each of these iconography here are going to give you different things. So these, of course, the punch boards all come out nicely and easily. This is the farmer. This is the thing that this person is going to be mainly in charge of doing during the game. The next character we have now, the cool thing is, if you haven't noticed on the side of this, all these trays can come out really nicely. And my goal is to maybe put some of this stuff together. You can see how all these are placed together when the game is all done. So you can see how these trays all look when they have everything in them. The merchant is the next one. It's a purple color. They all kind of correlate with the colors. We have our merchant's punch board right here. The merchant's plan is the goal is to kind of balance the needs of every ever-shifting market to make the most profit. That's the goal of the merchant. Of course, you will be kind of competing with other merchants and try to strive for the best market you can. That'd be your plan. You're going to be working. Okay, so again, we've got the skills down here. We have the board here, which is going to fit into this place, and it's going to be able to. You're going to have your skills slide in as well, and when you learn them. So we have a satisfied customer. If we are able to make that happen, then we get this particular ability over here. Now, again, I don't know exactly how all these people work, but here's the rest of the board that goes along with it. Now, it's only this side. This is for the crafter. Don't look at that. We'll look at that in just a second. But these are all the different goods that the merchant can get. And based on maybe how the market is performing and things of that nature, you're going to want to get certain things to be able to be sold or not sold. If you get a lot of them, it looks like you're going to gain more of the gold that goes along with them, as far as I understand. But again, could be completely wrong. That is the merchant, a small little look into how the merchant works. Then it looks like the next person we have is going to be the ranger. The ranger has the brown board here in the tray, I should say. And the ranger is going to be exploring the areas surrounding Mythwind Valley, uncovering dangers and gathering goods to benefit the town. Here's kind of the punch board for it. Again, it has all the different steps that the person can go through, our ranger can go through, which includes using different tools and skills to, I guess, explore the area and see what there is. Now, I do want to mention this little part here. This is an extra part for the farmer. It's the farmer's forest and equipment tiles. That's all of this area here. This is still all part of the farmer. The farmer can get equipment that would eventually help. As you can see, you're able to get some of this, which can increase some of the, like, for example, these are different, this is the symbol for the livestock. So using some of the livestock can get you more gold or more equipment that you can use to help better your farmland. That against the rangers thing here. The last one we have is going to be the crafter here. This particular character, if I can find all the punch boards for this one, shows that they're going to be, of course, making different things for the town based on maybe requests, or also helping the reputation of the town based on different materials that the character can make through the game. But these are all the different things laid out for the crafter. Of course, there are the crafting dials as well found on this page. The dials are going to increase how much the gold you're going to get from what you're able to craft. And these different particular things here are going to be found inside of every character. Does come with its own bag, and we'll see that during the unboxing. So you don't always know what you're going to have access to when you are playing your character. But of course, they also have the skills just like all the other characters. So that's just a basic outline of what these are. And I might go into more detail with these as we move forward, as I dig through the game here, because I'm going to try to show how exactly you can set all this up or get it back into the box in a nice fashion. So in case you have any questions about how that's done, I'm going to do my best to try to get all this stuff back in here after unboxing all of this stuff. Now, the next tray we have is the main tray that's going to have all the stuff we need for get the game going here. But before we do that, there are a few more other punch boards that I want to look at. The first one is going to have, again, some more of the gold that we have for the game. On top of that, it has some town resource punches here and tiles that show different actions that the town, I believe, can take. And we also have season tiles up here. Depending on what season it is, you're going to have different things affecting your game. Then we have an adventure and a token for the goals, I believe. that are going to be used for a card cover, so you don't actually know what the card is coming next. You'll have these on top to prevent you from seeing what there is. On top of that, I do want to mention, looking back in these books, that each character does have its own complexity level, and so you can decide what level you want to play on, which is, or not play on, but have, you can look through and see which one do you think would fit the style of play that you might be interested in doing. For example, the crafter is a 3, the merchant is a 4, the farmer is a, let's see which one the farmer is. The farmer is a complexity of 1. And the ranger's complexity is a 3. So those are the first starting classes that you, or the different difficulties for them. Now this is going to be how the board is set up at the beginning of the game. You're going to take out both of these and lay them out onto the board in this fashion, I believe. Like, let's see here, how are you going to do this? Maybe like this. Do these open up? No, I don't think so. Okay, so just like this, or, oh, there's 3 of them. That'd be why. There are 3 of these. So they're all going to set up just like this across the board. It's going to make a neat little thing here. Okay, we've got mass chaos going on here. Across the playmat, I am just going to move the board, just so, or the box, so I can show you on the playmat here how this is all going to be set up. This is going to be the way your town is going to be set up in the game. Then we have all the other things that are going to go with this. And of course, everything else that is in this box. So here are the bags I was talking about. Some of the classes do come with bags that are going to put, like the crafter and the farmer. I apologize, I think I mentioned all classes do, not all classes do. The farmer and the crafter come with these bags that you're going to use. Now the cool thing about these, here's some of the miniatures. These miniatures are amazing. These miniatures are super good. These are all going to be the different classes of the game. I don't even have to paint these. They have, almost looks like a Sundrop type paint job already on them, which looks super cool. I'm really impressed by those. I'm going to keep them just like that. So sadly, there will not be a painting video for these particular miniatures because I'm a big fan of how they look just as they are. There are some dice that come with it, lots of cards and tiles that are going to go onto the board. Let's take a look at some of these. Now, I don't want to spoil too much of this stuff. And of course, there are some hidden envelopes. I will not be opening any of these. These are hidden envelopes for people to discover as they play through the game. And so let's take a look at some of these cards and hopefully I can show you kind of how it works. The first thing you do is find out what season. Usually when you start the game, you're going to be on the spring season, but they have fall, they have winter, all this. Whatever season it is, it's going to go up there. You have your resources here, and it's going to tell you how many resources you have. You're just going to be moving these up and down this track based on whether or not you spend these resources in the game. Now, as I set this up, I do want to mention that I am not going to be doing a playthrough of this. Colin is going to be doing a playthrough of this. He's super pumped. I'm actually super pumped about this game. I almost don't want to give it back to him. I just want to kind of hold it hostage. But he is going to be doing a playthrough very soon on the channel, so please stay tuned for that. That'll be coming very soon as I get him back the game. If I do give him back the game, maybe I might keep it and do it myself. The next thing we have are all these different places that you're going to be able to explore as you go through the game. So you're going to place these down on 1 through 10 here and 13 and things like that. So here's 1, number 2 is somewhere, there it is like this. So you're kind of creating this thing. Now the backside of these are going to be different resources that you're going to be able to use in the game, or money. So as you expand the game, you're going to be uncovering what these are, and you're going to be gaining whatever those are, resources, gold, or something of that nature. So I'm going to put those aside to show you what that is. Then, of course, you do get your starting village area, which is the long house, which I believe is going to go right, I don't know where, because it probably goes on this board somewhere. I think it goes right next to the here, maybe right there. Is that where it goes? Who knows? Anyway, the long house is going to be your starting place. It's going to have an ability here. Now, as you go through the game, you're going to be not only uncovering these, but you're going to build new places as well in this whole deck of cards here that have all the different places and what they're going to be doing on the back side. On top of that, they are in different like orders. Like this is the longhouse. It's a level 1 type houses where then you can get better. Instead of going from the longhouse, you go to the abattoirs and things of that nature. The bakery, you're going to be able to upgrade these, and there's a whole upgrade system in this game. So the longboat probably becomes, well, it usually becomes something as it goes forward here, and it's going to be able to do more for you as you play through the game. You'll be able to expand your city and your, I guess you could say, town, which is going to be really cool. Now, these are the sites where some of those action components of the game are going to sit. For example, we have this one right here, and when you decide to use that action, I believe you're going to flip it. Well, I guess it doesn't double-sided, but it's going to show you what type of actions you have down there. Maybe remove the tile or something. And again, haven't really played the game. I'm looking forward to watching Colin play through this. It's going to be super cool. But a lot of this kind of is set up is on the game here. We have, although like I said, all those cards are going to go on there, but I believe the game kind of persists as well, because as you go through the seasons, you can also decide to change your character as well. So you can try to play different characters inside this town that you are building. We do have some weather cards that are going to be used in this game. Basically, the way this works is you're going to start with one day, and every time you play a day, you're going to flip over a new weather card, and it's going to tell you whether it's rainy or it's cloudy or it's sunny, depending on what it is. There's only a few cards, but that's okay. You don't need very many for a weather deck. You're, of course, just going to shuffle them up, draw a weather card, and you're going to have to use that particular weather system during that day. And based on what weather is going on, it's going to affect the way that the different seasons play out. Depending on what you have there, different things are going to happen, and what different resource you're going to gain or things like that based on your tile up there. So you're going to be flipping over these each turn. And so if this is our first one we flip over, and this is our second one, and then our third one, now at this point we'd start looking to see if any of those match what's going on up here. Oh, it does. So we're going to be able to gain this particular benefit, or maybe it's a detriment that's going to happen. Now you just continue to flip. Every day you'd be flipping a new one, and you'd be looking at the last three to see if any other happen. So here's another one. Now at this point during our play, this particular event would take place. Now I don't think the other one's going to take place because there's only 3 of each card. And so this one wouldn't have actually taken place during this season due to the weather. Also, these weather cards are going to affect different things you're going to do during your actions during the other stages of the game. Now, a lot of things I'm showing you will actually fit back into this tray, and this is going to be your setup for it, and it's going to evolve as you go. Now, of course, I'm sure everybody just about winced a little bit because you're not supposed to shuffle the weather deck the first time you get it together. You're just supposed to place it right in there for the very first time you play your game. You're also going to get some event cards. Now, there's a lot of event cards here. They go from 1 to up to 154, and these event cards, again, you don't need to shuffle them because as you play through the game, it tells you to start with the event card 1 out there, and then you're going to put that tile on top of it, so when you have to draw one, you'll remove the tile and draw the card. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much because this is the first card you're ever going to run into, but it has some flavor text here and tells you what to do on the bottom, which means I'd read card 2 immediately, so I would just pick up card 2 and then read that one. And then eventually it might tell me to shuffle like 3 or 4 of these together and place them down here. And as you play through the game, of course, this deck will evolve as you go through, which is really super cool. So for the time being, we're just going to put card 1 right there because that is how you're supposed to start the game. Every time you play, you're going to have a goal you're going to want to meet, and at the beginning you only start with 7. There are a lot more goals going forward as you continue to play the game, but these are not during the original setup. You're going to have 7, and this you are going to mix up. You're going to place them down, and you're going to have whatever goal on top is going to be your goal. It tells you to, I believe you're supposed to shuffle them up like this. Let's say I'm shuffling up, and then you're going to place them face down and flip the top card. That's going to be the goal you have for your first turn. Or I shouldn't say that, I believe your first season of the game. So for us, if this was our starting cards, we would have to have the culture of must be a 2 or higher in a 1 to 2 player game, and in a 3 to 4 plus game, the culture must be 5 or higher. And of course, each one of these is going to be a little bit different. Here's another one that says discover 1 land for every character. So every character would have to try to find some kind of land out there. So there are a bunch of different starting ones that you're going to have to deal with. Whatever your goal is, that is something you're going to try to complete during the game, along with all the other stuff that's going on. Another thing we have is, of course, we have these adventure cards. There's a whole bunch of them. Now, they are dual-sided, so that is why it comes with this cover that you're supposed to place on here. Now, of course, when you start, you take the top 10 cards of this deck, and you shuffle them together, and you place them down right here. And when it tells you to draw an adventure card, you just take this off, you draw your adventure card, and you place it back down in here. And then, of course, you're going to have to deal with this adventure. So we have, like, for example, quarreling, if I can talk, workers, and you'll have to deal with what that has to do with. And, of course, then you'll discard this card, or it might tell you to put other cards in the deck or something of that nature, and so maybe something like that might come back in the future. So at the beginning, your tray is going to look something similar to that. Then we have all our workers and our sprite dice. This is it has this really cool mechanic where you're going to roll these dice to see how well things happen to you, and these are all going to fit into this thing as well. So you have your sprite dice in here so that they're nicely stacked in, and then we have our worker dice put in here as well. So everything has a home in one of these trays, which is really kind of cool. I like that. And then as you play, your tray will evolve going forward. So all the cards will sit inside of here, but then when you need them for this particular thing, you'll go and say, say you get adventure card 62. So you put that in the adventure deck, but the rest of the deck is going to stay out inside that box. There are cards specific for the classes. So this is the Rangers card, and it does come with a cover for that, because otherwise you could see what you're going to need going forward in order to uncover this particular event that you're going to do. So it does have these for the Ranger. There are some rival cards, of course, for the Merchant. The Merchant's going to have to deal with rivals going forward. There are some requests for the Crafter, I believe, is what that one's going to be for. Then we have the Customer for the Merchant class. We also have these, I believe these are also going to be for the Ranger class, I think is what those are for. So there's a lot of different cards going on in this game. But, and like I said, you also get to build some houses, which are pretty cool. So you can turn like the Longhouse into something like maybe the City Hall, or there is a specific hierarchy as into how these are all going to evolve going forward. Maybe on the back side it'll tell me. Nope, it didn't tell me, but it does tell me I need these in order to upgrade this to the next level. And there is, I think, a picture showing all the different ways that this town can develop and how these are going to evolve as well in the book. Some of the other components from the Kickstarter are these awesome looking coins. These are the copper coins. I'm just stick them all right there. Hopefully they all fit there. This is where they would go inside of this particular thing. We do have some silver coins as well. We'll open those up and put them into their respective little place here in the little thing. Lots of noise there, I apologize. And the last one, of course, are our gold coins. They are 10 each. These are 1, 5, and 10. You're gonna gain and spend them, I'm guessing, as you play through the game. We'll put those right there. Now that they are normally cardboard components, but with the upgraded components we got through the Kickstarter, that is where those are gonna go. We can also put our goal tokens in here. So if we had a particular goal that told us we had to, here, for example, construct 1 building, construct 2 buildings. Say we had to construct 2 buildings. We'd be able to put this on one of the buildings to show that that is going towards our goal. And of course, once you complete those, I believe you get your reward for that particular goal. Then, of course, we'd also put everything we need for the board out here on top of this. This would all go together, and then once it's done, it would create like this whole, you can just put this right onto here and hold everything, and that's kind of how you're going to be able to save your game. So ta-da, here I have everything all set up for our first game. Colin's going to be super happy, he doesn't have to do anything. I'm just going to put all these back together again, just like this, set them all in here, and then they're going to go into there. Of course, I'm going to have to tell him he's going to have to figure out what weather cards went in what order, because I shuffled them all up for him. We'll put this there. It's all set to be covered, and then when he starts the game, he'll be able to just grab everything out of here and begin. And we'll put this in there. It's all set to go. Now I've put everything back into the box here so that it is all set to go for when we need to pull things out. But I believe that is how you get everything ready to go. You just have your starting thing here. And of course, like I said, it slides in nicely and it's good to go. This is our start of our game. Here's the crafter's tray all set up. Now, this is not an end-all be-all of how you're supposed to do it. This is just kind of how I have it set up. Now, of course, it's not set up to start the game. This is just to hold everything, and we have a nice place for you to put everything. So at the beginning of the game, I just put all of the skills over into this area here. The crafter area itself has requests here. These are all the materials the crafter could eventually have. Now, this is just the beginning of the game. You're supposed to actually start with a couple materials, but I didn't give them the materials because I'm not actually starting the game. I'm just putting this away. Then on the other side here, we have all these little dials, which are set. If you notice there's a little arrow here, make sure that arrow is facing in that direction. You place all these here, and then it says it has these number 1s and 5s all the way down the list. Now inside the bag, I've actually put one of each material because it does tell you to do that in the instructions. So I have actually got the bag all set up. So when I do decide to play with the crafter, I have everything ready to go, and all I have to do is pull this out and start playing. We're going to put this back into our box. Again, super cool, all set and ready to go. Now I'm going to do that for the other 3 as well if you're interested. If not, you can skip forward in the video and you can see the other materials that are coming with the Kickstarter when it comes to all the different stretch goals and other materials. Here's the merchant's board all set up. Well, I shouldn't say set up. It's set to go into the box. If I decide to play the merchant, I'll have to pull it out and put it completely together. But this at least is showing where the components are held. You're supposed to start with 4 of these. I've actually put 5 in there because when you do actually start with the merchant, it tells you to place them out there, but it has to do with a die roll. So I don't want to place them out there yet because I'm not planning to start this. I've put the skills over here, and then I've also put all of the extra little tokens there. Here's the supply for all these tokens, and we have our rival cards in here, our customer cards, and we also have our tenancy cards all found here. So again, if you're interested in playing this character, all you have to do is pull this out along with the rest of the board that has to do with the game, and you're all set to go. So let's cover it up and place it into the box along with our crafter who's already ready to go, and we'll get our next character all set up. Next, we'll move into the farmer's board. Now, I do want to again stress that I am not setting these characters up to begin the game. I'm just setting up the characters and putting all the components that go with them. So when I do begin the game, I have them readily available. One thing I did forget is I forgot about this token. This token goes in the main box. It's going to separate what dice you're using from the other dice that have already been, or that are available. So it's actually going to sit right here. And then as you play, you're going to be able to save the dice from your other past games into these slots, and this will then you'll have this here to denote which ones are not being used and which ones are. So I forgot to place that into this thing while I was putting all the components away. I just want to bring that to your attention. Now let's remove this one. I don't think I have anything else to say about this one. Hopefully not. Even though I'd probably have led a few people astray with some of this, but at least I'm giving you an idea of a little bit of how you're supposed to be able to place some of these together. So I've got, again, my farmer board, and this isn't exactly how you're supposed to have it set up for the game. Like I said, I've just done this so I have everything available to me when I want to use this character. These are eventually going to start out on the board in random places. These are unused land. These are all our different items we can use, and these are our livestock. So I placed them there. And just like the previous ones, I also have all of our skills over in that area. Now, all the tiles that we're going to be playing out to put out as crops are going to be all in this bag, which is going to fit back into the box. It's not going to fit onto this board at all. So that's really all there is for the farmer. It's the level 1 complexity one. So as you can see, there's not a lot going on with it, but it doesn't mean that it's not fun. I'm sure each one of these has a lot of fun that can be played. I mean, who doesn't want to draw crops out of a bag? That sounds absolutely pretty awesome. Our last character from the core box is the Ranger. Again, the Ranger is going to have his skills over here. He's got his starter board up here. Now, if you notice, there's nothing underneath there. It has a special ability called Expedition, which you'll be able to do. He's going to go out and check around the town, the area of the town, which is kind of cool. This is going to show how many cards this character can have in a stock that he's going to use when he goes on these expeditions. Now, under here is where I put the cards. They are also going to be able to fit up here, and that will show you which ones you're going to be able to use at the time. When you decide to go on any of the expeditions, you're going to use this chart to show you how many of which cards you're going to choose from your expedition deck here, level 3s, level 2s, and level 1s, and you're going to go out on those. Now, of course, down here it shows you a little bit about what is going to be part of that expedition, so it'll be able to help you decide what cards from your stock you're going to want to bring that potentially can maybe give you a better result when you go on the particular hunt. Now, that's really all this guy has going for him when it comes to the player board. Again, like I said, there's not a lot going on with him, but there's still going to be a lot going on when you actually get to try him out. He does have a complexity level of 3, so he's kind of one of the more medium characters. So there you have the core box. Again, it sits in nicely. I have everything in there. I'm not sure if this is where the tokens go. Again, I've just kind of set it up the way I'm going to use it. I will mention that from what I can tell here in the amount of cards we have versus the space in the box, I don't think sleeving is going to give you the ability to have all these cards in the box ready to go. But again, I don't think there's a lot of sleeving that needs to take place in this game. I don't think you're shuffling a lot of cards and drawing them over and over again, except for maybe some of the characters, which you may be able to get away with when it comes to sleeving some of the stuff that they have if you're going to be able to place it in other parts of the game. For example, sleeving all of his cards, we may still be able to spread them out along here. You might have to devise a way to separate which ones are in use and which ones are in reserve when you go to save your game, but at least you'll have the ability to potentially sleeve some of the cards for each character. So again, we'll just slide all this stuff right in there. I don't want that thing to pop out. I want to be ready so I can go. Also, I want you to understand I am not setting this up for my game to start because, of course, characters are going to start with about some gold and things of that nature, but I just wanted to make sure I have all the components for each of the characters, and if I do decide to start the game, I have everything for that as well. I'm going to put all the individual instruction booklets back up on top here. Is this the way to do it? It totally is all up to you how you want to put all this game together. I do have my little bags, throw them in here, and I have the final one right here. Let's see, I'm going to slide that up a little bit so I can fit this run right there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then I have a couple of things on top I can throw, and then I'll just put the cover back on top. And I think our game is ready to go when I want to start playing. I can just pull out, whoa, I'm going to throw my box over there. Super good camera work here. I'm going to, let's see if I can even get this on here. Okay, it's got to be able to fit in here. It came on here, right? All right, here we go. Whoa, get on there. A little bit in there. There you go. Perfect. Boom. Ready to go. And I can throw this into my Calyx if I want to, and it does have no lid lift, so it's good to go. Now, I didn't put the instruction book in there because Colin is going to be learning how to play this game, and he's going to be doing a playthrough of this game for you. So I don't need to have the instruction booklet here with me. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other components. The first thing we have is these little magical miniatures is what they're called. These are going to, I can just show you right here. These are just miniatures for some, I believe, the sprites that are in the game, if you wish to use them. They may have something to do with some of the events or things of that nature. Again, I don't know. I can't even get the box open. There we go. They're all right here. Now, this is, of course, is kind of the dropped pledge, I think is what they call it. Myth drop, I think. So they are already, they come with kind of that already painted on, what do you call it, like a really deep, dark wash on top of it, which they look pretty cool. I'm okay with exactly how they look, so I have no reason to paint these miniatures. They are all set to go. Next, we have two of the books that go with this game. One is just going to be a journal that you can keep track of things in your game if you wish to, which is kind of neat. You just undo this little thing here, and then it's got a lot of blank pages, so you can write a little journal of your adventures in Mythwind, which is kind of cool. I like that. So that way I can recall the different things that I was working on, or if I have a hard time remembering how to, that I have things saved, I can write it in here so that I have access to it. Then we have an art book of Mythwind. I hope this isn't going to spoil too much of the game based on what you see here. Of course, we've seen some of the characters in the game, and going forward, we're going to see some of the buildings and things of that nature. So it's just the art that is found in Mythwind. Oh, it's a really cool picture right there. No, I wish I had a picture of that to hang on my wall. All right, that's the cover book, the art book that goes along with the game, which is pretty neat. Next, we have the Winds of Magic. This is a little expansion, I believe, that's going to be going with the game. It's going to add another set of tiles for the Winds of Magic. It's going to add a new season templates here. Looks like it has some new event cards and some of the housing. Like I said, it comes with some buildings. It comes with some of the cards you're going to use as goals. It does have some events, and it does have some adventures. And I believe this is going to have to do more. It enhances the weather part of the game as opposed to just viewing the cards and being able to get abilities from here. I think a lot of it, these are going to have to do very much with the weather as well. You can integrate these straight into the game, and I believe the game itself will tell you when to interact with some of these components. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's just something you instantly put all these cards in. You can put them in, but they're going to tell you when exactly to place certain cards into it. Just like when you saw the adventure deck being built, it was like the top 7 cards or 10 cards or whatever, and you mixed them together. Maybe at some point it might say, oh, if you have the expansion, put in cards 3 and 4 and things of that nature. So that is the Winds of Magic expansion. Next, we have an extra set of event cards here. Let's see what is in this particular pack of cards. It hopefully rips open pretty easily. I don't want to rip the cards. I will say it was a little bit harder to open than I expected it to be. I had to get a scissors so I wouldn't rip and ruin the cards. This is a bonus kind of expansion that you can add into it. It is a set of promo cards. The way this works is, though, it does say after you open envelope 1, then you're going to introduce one of these cards. So it's just an added thing that you can add into the game. Now, of course, you can put these in with the box, but again, just like the Winds of Magic, you don't just instantly integrate these. It'll prompt you when to integrate them. And like it says, this one has to do with when you open envelope number 1 during your gameplay. And lastly, we have our expansion character that we were able to get through the Kickstarter. This is the Innkeeper. This is the character that Colin will be playing during the playthrough. He's already told me he's hoping to try this one. Now, of course, he hasn't played it, so if he does change his mind and has lied to me, that is the way it goes. So this is another character that is going to be part of it, bringing in a whole new set of things. It does have a rule book exactly for the Innkeeper. Of course, a whole set of punch boards for the Innkeeper and how to play through it and all the different things that this character is going to go with. It does have a tray just like the other characters, and it even has a whole little system to hold everything. And it even gives a few more dice. Oh, wow, there's a lot of cool things in here. So we're going to go, and it even has the miniature for this particular character, which then we're going to use on the board as we decide what actions we're going to perform during particular parts of the game. Let's grab some of these cards and things and see what we have. I'm sure a lot of this is going to be very similar to what we've seen in the core box, but let's take a look at everything we've got here. We do have new buildings. We have some banks, farmers markets, things of that nature. These I'm just going to put right back in the box. We do have some goal cards that we can place here. And I'm noticing a lot of extra room in this box. So here is a way, if you wanted to sleeve cards, I think this would be a way to do it, because you can put some of those other cards into this box if you don't mind having two sets of boxes. And I don't think anything in here is going to fit into the core game as is, because it was pretty full in there. So I think that is one way to be able to get a way to sleeve all your cards. Now, these are event cards that start with an EH, so I'm sure that the game itself will teach us how to introduce some of these event cards and also some of these adventure cards, because these again are EH1. Now, I don't believe this is a standalone expansion. I don't think these are the event cards that go with this expansion. I think this is just going to enhance the game of Mythwind. So you're going to need, of course, the core game in all set up, and I think you start with what is there, and the game itself will explain how to put these cards into it as you go through. Now let's take a look at the Innkeeper board itself. Here is the board for the Innkeeper, and again, just set up so that I have everything I need to play the character when I decide to start. Now when I do start, I'll set up the way it's supposed to be for the actual game. The Innkeeper really is going to try to host guests and ensure everyone has a great stay at the inn, which is this place right here. The renown of the Innkeeper is going to grow as more and more people are satisfied being at the inn, and I'm going to place everything. Now we have these gossip cards, which are kind of cool. These are going to, once you are able to, when you draw these, you're going to place them into the adventure deck, and you're going to be able to gain the reward when these come up in the adventure deck. Plus, it says you're going to draw an extra adventure card. So these are going to be part of this. I've separated these two different types of tokens there. I'm going to put this right here. This fits right here, and this token is not part of this track. I'm just placing it there so I have a place for it. We're just going to put this on top, and our Innkeeper is ready to go when I want to play with this character. And like I said, Colin is going to be the one playing the Innkeeper. Now, I did also, I should show under here, I placed our skills, and these are level 3 people that are coming to stay at our inn. The ones up here are level 2s, and the level 1s are actually found inside this bag. I put all 12 in there. So I am partially kind of set up for this, but I did want to just tell you that that's where these go, and that's why they're not in there. Now, once that's done, I'm going to place this all right back into that box, and we're all set to go. I am going to punch out these, and I'll place them back into the box where you saw all the rest of our tokens. So there you have it. That is the unboxing of Mythwind. I showed you everything you get in the full Kickstarter all-in pledge. That is what they call Myth Dropped. Now, I do want to mention that there is so much extra storage in here. I did kind of take a look, and I think you can get everything sleeved if you use this box to hold the rest of your cards. On top of that, I do want to mention that those different event cards and things, looking deeper into this character, it did show that these are going to be included into the game once you get to unlock envelope number 1. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing of Mythwind. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so we'll soon know when Mythwind playthrough comes out. Colin will be doing a playthrough of this sometime this week at the time of this recording, so please take a look, keep a lookout for that. I'm excited to see this game in action, and if it is as cool as I think it's going to be, you might see Colin and I play it together live on a Tuesday evening at some point, or every once in a while we get together Mondays in the afternoon so that people in other time zones can also enjoy some of the great live content at the time it's actually being recorded. So there you have it. This is Mythwind. I'm super excited to get to it. I hope you had a chance to look at this game, and if you have, please let me know in the comments what you think of the game so far, or if you haven't got it yet, or you like what you see here, please let me know that as well. If you want to support the channel, you can by joining the Patreon. It's located in the description of this video. Those that do support us in our Patreon do get some perks. One of them is they do get to see our playthrough videos done, usually about a day or two ahead of time without commercial interruptions. Also, they get a chance to expand how our game goes forward. I give them the ability to vote in different things going forward, like what should we be doing in the next season? What should some of the things we should be going for when it comes to character upgrades or things like that. I'll let them help us decide that. That way they get the chance to be able to help us decide how the game moves forward. Again, there you have it, Mythwind by Open Owl Studios. If you're excited to see Mythwind or anything else that Colin and I have coming up, then I need you to meet me at the table.